Okay, guys, let's get back to work. Um, uh, whew. I went to check the mail yesterday. They had a thing for the NRA that ended up in the trash, and it was about a giveaway thing. And I thought, I wonder how many dummies get these things and go show up for it to get a free gun to give away and then get incarcerated because they're criminals. Pretty sure it's quite frequent. Yeah, there's a lot of America's dumbest criminals. Yeah, they're like that. You're giving away trade secrets. Just stand up for the Lord's Prayer and stop trading your secrets, okay? Run for governor of New Mexico or something. All right, they're dumb as hell. I'm dealing with really broken individuals who think they can replace the truth of creation with the delusion of invention and manipulate with mythology to do so. And that's what's happening. And yesterday, I had help with my prostate. My best helper is my second wife, right? And she feels really bad about a lot of things that happened to her with the grooming from not just the Temple of Set Illuminati, but the Church of Scientology. And yeah, it's true. Okay, we were in Santa Fe, it's just so forth. And the Vatican and, everything to try to justify all the horrible things that are done by people trying to play God with invention and fallacy over faith in the truth of creation and applied physics and linguistics that are faith based on reality. All right. So I talked to Amy about it. One of the good connections I made was my son is very fond of a guitar player that I became fond of when I was in college before Patrick was born. And he's German and Chinese and Hungarian. Okay. His name is Otmar Liebert. Okay. And he ended up going to Santa Fe, and I watched the interview. And they had the thing, they talked to me. He worked in a bank. And they were going to try to promote him to make him he was really good at what he was doing, and they wanted to make him a banker. And he said, no, he's a musician. So in musicians, they have what they call as a day job to pay the bills till you can pay the bills being a musician. And he told them, he said, no, I'm a musician with a day job, not a banker with a hobby, right? I'll be a human being with talents and gifts to share the truth of creation with people that think money's real, and you have to play music for it, right? You have to. I'm the Messiah. I'm supremely intelligent to most people that perceive themselves as intelligent, that have either laid down to accept the rape or decided you're just going to have to, if you can't beat them, join them, right? And that's fundamentally wrong. And I lived in Santa Fe for 9 months, and it was very fundamentally wrong. And, in a lot of the cultural aspects, I hate it. Me and Amy were not Anglo, okay? Everybody always thought when I was younger that I was Mexicano. I got profiled in Sierra Vista even when I was there, and I got profiled everywhere I went as either being Lebanese or Mexican or whatever. Okay, I did get profiled as being. It wasn't really a profile; it was a compliment. My name tag at Southwest Airlines was cut off at the bottom, and instead of saying Earl, it said Fadi, Fadi, which means Jesus in Arabic. Okay, Fadi. Lord also means Jesus in Britain. It means, Lord, Earl. And so, Bassam sat there and told me, if that name, you must be a very good Muslim. And I don't pray much. And I said, you don't have to, just fine. I understood Islam. And it's, oh, my name is Earl. They just cut the thing. It was great. But he was so astonished. He goes, how do you know Islam so well? I was in the service, and I had lots of friends in the service that were Muslim. And some, corrected, almost got a table thrown onto me. Yeah. so God loves you. So it was Hamid. Oh boy, he got so mad. Well, he told me that Dana Plummer was an idiot and God loved Ahmed better than Dana Plummer. I said, that's not true. We're all given life by the glory of God. And then I asked him, how many sons do you have? Two. Okay, which one do you love better? I don't. I love them both equally. So, you're a better father than God? And he tried to pick up a table and throw it on me. He was so mad. Okay. Then he came back. I got in trouble, was told, you can't talk about stuff like that with anybody. He started it. I was just correcting his fallacy. And then He came back the next day, didn't tell anybody, just apologized to me, and his Muhammad told him that I was correct and he was wrong. Of course, I'm the Messiah, right? But, yeah. But with this thing with Amy, and it helped out with the thing with Otmar, because he's a lot like myself and my son. Just the facts, Jim. Just the facts. Okay. And what I always tell people: if it equates, accept it. If it doesn't, reject it. And so, if you write down on a piece of paper that your gravity and other people ratify it in a section, does that make you gravity? No, it does. Well, then don't accept it. It does not equate. There's no science in it. So when the scientific evidence is eliminated or manipulated, you know it's been changed. It's faith based on reality. Okay. Life is eternal, grace is infinite. That's based on reality. You cannot contain it with the brain, but you can understand it without containing it. It's called humble submission to understanding outside of your aspect of perception. Okay. It's called humility. All right. And the main reason why the Messiah is a man and not a woman, okay, is because of our evolution and our genetics. So Adam and Eve, when you're taking the mythology, okay, Adam is the first man of faithful communication that through trying to understand eternity, probably when his wife and child died in childbirth or something horrific like that. That was the source of faithful communication of faith in omnipotent God, and not any kind of ignorant bastardization of perception, right? So this man was named Adam from North Africa, and he had a wife named Eve. All right. And they were consistently together in spirit. One day they died, and their grace was... And so then this happened quite a bit, okay? These stories were shared because of migration. And then a lot of people thought they had Adam and Eve in the fold. But the ones that most consistently had Adam and Eve in the fold, that kept the most consistent, intelligent religious understanding, were the people called the Hebrews, the Jews, okay? And even the Arabs say this. Muhammad says this, because it's Abraham and not, it's the line of Abraham and not the line of Hud. Okay, and Hud has faith similar to Abraham, but that's because Hud is related to Abraham. So it's from that line. But the thing about it is when there was a corruption in that line because of arrogance, which happened with the Egyptians, okay, it was still among that tribe because they were the people that would accept the teachings, but it was Ruth's line, which was not a Jew. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So yes, this Otmar Liebert kid, I like him. Well, he's not really, he's about my age. Well, I'm the spirit of Father Adam, so this Otmar Liebert kid, I like him. He gets it. He gets it, Oh, okay, yeah. See, I could be I had the same thing with John McCain when I got him in meditation and prayer. It's like, look, kid, you're pissing me off. Well, I'm your elder. You respect me. No, Caiaphas and Jesus. Who is the spirit of Adam and who is the little bastard kid trying to replace him? Thank you. Relativity. Till you understand eternity, don't come have a conversation with me or I'll kick your ass every time you open your fucking mouth in front of me. What's the difference between John McCain and Justice Ginsburg? None whatsoever. None. They're both the same person. Yes. All the same person. A little bastard trying to replace the eternal spirit with a faithful father. There we go. Same person, right? And so what I explained to Amy, when she's, you didn't do anything horrible. You didn't do anything bad. You were just trying to get you and your kids through this Stockholm syndrome of these raping, child molesting, virtual presence, murdering. Everybody will do it. Everybody will be like Antoine LaVey and Michael Aquino. Everybody gives into it. World didn't. Okay. And no one else did. No. Okay. Protecting a young lady from being sexually groomed, predicated on, and abused by people in the military is not being a sexual predator. It's being a gracious good shepherd. Okay. Gosh, damn, you guys are assholes. No, Otmar's right. It's not because Patrick's not a fan. Patrick, admires his talents and appreciates his sharing of the artistic expression of music. Okay, Patrick's not a fanatic. He just really enjoys Otmar. He's also really particularly fond of Tonino, and I'm pretty sure Otmar is too. Okay. And don't forget Neto and Anator. Listen to Earl. I like guitar players, period. Me and Patrick are the same way. Love the thumb. Okay. I'm pretty sure Wes Montgomery loves. The Otmar loves Wes Montgomery. You have to be stupid not to love Wes Montgomery. Wes Montgomery is absolute musical cantaloupe and strawberries for the ears. I mean, he's wonderful. I was going to say candy, but candy isn't as healthy and as good for you as cantaloupe and strawberries, right? Let's go, instead of man invented, let's go God's creation on this one, right? Because that's what Wes Montgomery is, right? So it was a very good connection. It was a very good prayer. And it's funny. I remember when I first he was revealed to me, or I discovered, or whatever, I say discovered, but there he was, and I brought him home and I played it, and Mom was like, "Oh, that's really good." And then she looked and she said, "But he's Otmar Liebert. He's German." She was freaking out. Right? There's no way in hell a German could play this. And then she read the liner notes and goes, "Okay, he's part Hungarian." Okay. That's where the music came from. That was my mother, right? Because it wasn't from the Chinese and the German. I'm like, Ma, I don't know about that. I do not know about that. I know Strauss is a Jew that was in Germany with but that's wonderful music, yeah. But it's very much slow, It doesn't have the boom 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 boom. Oh, okay. And the Chinese also has the. It's just, oh, I see where she's coming from. I think Otmar gets it too. Yeah, that Hungarian was just, I was playing classical, and then the Hungarian said, "Get louder," right? Whoop, that's Greek, but you know what I mean? Just, there we go, right? And so, let's get loud. Yeah, it happens, and there are certain cultures, 9-9, it must be this way. And then once you step outside of the box, enough, right? I'm not going to be told what to do. I'm not going to be put in a picture frame by you and the family anymore. I'm going to paint my own pictures. I'm going to paint my own paintings. I'm going to go up at Vivaldi, and I'm going to look across, and I'm going to see there's the one they call Utah, and there's the one they call Arizona, and there's the one they call Colorado, and there's there's a mountain there. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. That's when Oh, in Santa Fe, when me and Amy went up and we drove up to Baldy and we took the kids up. And we looked and we went to this spot. And I showed her. I said, "Look at that. And look at that, Amy." You could, like Albuquerque, when you go up Albuquerque, you can go up, is it Tramway? Up by where Dave and Val lived. And we go on the exercise trail up there, above it. And you could look all the way to Mount Taylor. Rossville, and it's like, that's all the way over by Galloping Grants. Beautiful, right? I said, isn't that wonderful? The thing is, though, you experience similar kind of things when you're on the Palouse in Washington. I remember with Mom with that, I was like, holy cow, mother. I go, what's that? She goes, because Adams looked bigger because it was closer. And Mom goes, no, Rainier's bigger. I was like, Rainier is like another couple 100 miles. It would hang in the air because the atmosphere, you just see the tip of it. And Adams, you could see whole. Okay. It was closer to Yakima. Okay. And I'd look, and we look at it, she says, no, Earl, that's about 200, that's about from here to Albuquerque away. Yeah, that's how flat the land is, and these mountains just go, oof, right. I was like, holy mackerel, Andy. That's a big piece of rock out of the straight, That's beautiful. Covered in snow. Mount Adams was gorgeous. And Rainier was beautiful. I liked Pasco. I did. Had a really cute girlfriend. Yeah. Fell in love almost right away. Then the U-Haul was ready to go, and I had to leave her. Shooby dooby doo shadoo. Tracy Sampson, yeah, she was adorable. She was cute. She had a really strong, hardworking Sampson. I don't know if that's Scandinavian. I don't know what he was blonde and raw boned, and yeah, I liked him. I liked Mr. Sampson. He was very quiet and very protective, but a good man, you know. Not racist and bigoted, and he was younger than his wife. His wife was about 6 to 8 years older than him. She was gorgeous. Oh, yeah, well, of course, the daughter, yeah. Wow. And I heard when I went over to her house, that's your mom? And she said, you know, and she explained, well, my dad's younger. I said, oh, well, yeah, you can kind of tell, but your mom, shit. This bed of roses that I lay in, where I live. Yeah, you're like, you can see why he's, wow, yeah. Okay, he was quiet, and she was the boisterous one. I remember when we got into it about Larry Holmes, and I think it was Ken Norton. I said, no, you just like Ken Norton because he's got an Adonis Barta and he's gorgeous. He's going to get his ass kicked, right? I didn't say ass kicked, but he's going to get whooped. Okay, that's right. Wow. Because my grandpa was Irish, right? And the goddamn Irishmen, they fight like a damn animal. They fight like a brawler. And so, you want to see a real fighter there, you look at the Sugar Ray Robinson there. Sugar Ray Robinson. Now that man can fight. Okay. He knows how to box. He fights like a man. Okay. There's them, they fight like a brawler and animal, get their shit kicked out of them, get themselves beat up. Not Sugar Ray Robinson. The man dances around the ring. You can't lay a glove on him, and he knocks you senseless or nines of it, you know, like Russians box. Okay? Russians are the same way, you know. No. Same me and Daryl Fielder. That wasn't a fight. That was a sucks. You don't want to get into a sucks. You get into a fight. You coming to fight me? I don't want to fight you. I'm going to dance around, kick your ass, and then you're going to say, hey, I don't want to ever do that again. Good thing we're living the Lord's Prayer. We won't ever have to there. There you go. Right? So I told her, I said, no, that reach, Norton ain't going to be able to get in on him. And he's strong. He just doesn't look it because he's so long. And yes and no, Larry Holmes is going to whoop his ass. I didn't say whoop his ass. I was more polite, you know, raised by a Southern gentleman. But I was like, no. And then she came back, you think you're so smart. It's like, no, my mom and dad are just really into boxing, especially Ma. She was raised by an Irishman. You know, her name is, she's Mrs. Parsons, but she was Miss Murphy. Oh, she knows boxing, upside down and backwards. Okay, she can tell you exactly what round he's going down, what he's doing, how's it. That's why I liked Jimmy Young so much. And what else? We were really into, what was his name? Sugar Ray Leonard, because he obviously was quite fond of Sugar Ray Robinson there, right? And I liked Tarns because he was like the middleweight Larry Holmes. The long arms. No, he's going to kick his ass. He didn't near him. Aaron Pryor. He fought like an Irishman. And a little Mike Tyson. Aaron Pryor was crazy. Wow! I remember Roberto Duran could do both. Roberto Duran could do whatever style was necessary to win the fight. He could take a punch, he could deliver a punch, and he could move. Roberto Duran, pound per pound, was probably one of the best at defending himself in a fist fight of just about anybody I've ever watched. And that's not just to kiss ass, you know, in my local community. Roberto Duran was a tough kid. And it's sad. Because I remember Anthony and Carl sitting there having all the Mexicans wanting to fight the Negro and beat the Negro. And I was like, this is horrible. And Carl goes, we ain't going to be here next year. We're going to junior high. And he needs somebody to help him get him through the ropes and get him through and get him toughen up and get him off him before we leave. And the little Anthony, he looked a lot like the little boy in the commercial with B. Martinez. That's when I go through post-traumatic stress disorder when I watch that commercial. And I remember those little black eyes looking at me with the blood dripping from the scar on the top of his forehead. Like it was yesterday. I want to live the Lord's Prayer today so bad. Why don't you? You know? But I understand why it's a man that's the spirit of Father Adam that saves us from the mythology of the being tempted by the Stockholm Syndrome to join the group, or they'll kill us, try to kill us, and rape us off the planet. That's what the whole thing about tempted by the apple with Lucifer and the whole 9 yards is. They remove the science and fact and replace it with fiction to give you Homer and justification of rape, purge, raping, and then they give you the Odyssey to justify what you did, while the apples that don't fall farther from the tree was Prince John and Sheriff of Nottingham, your wife, while you were gone too long. Jimmy, oh Jimmy Mac, you better hurry back. And he calls me on the phone, says he's gonna come and force me into a sexual relationship just like you and your dad. No, I'm just kidding. I like Natalie with that cop's grandkid. Yeah, god dang. If you were there, it wouldn't happen. No, this is in the city thing. Here, this is a military control zone. In Phoenix, no, it would have been like Antoine and the Crips. The cop would have been like, okay, I'm fucking with this guy. No, I'm real sweet and nice until the shit hits the fan. And then I look you in the eye and say, you sure you want to ride this train? I am a little bit even harder to deal with than that horse that me and Dad saw yesterday on the rodeo channel. Oh, yeah, because I'm a man. I got opposable thumbs. And I have DNA. I got chi that most people can't conceive because they weren't turned into a god by the Romans. And he already had that chi before that. Well, life's eternal and grace is infinite. And the innocent need protecting from the guilty. And when you get in a large group of raping, marauding murderers, no one wants to pray for protection for you or from you. Yeah, okay. And so, that's why it's horrible to put people in the army and say, go kill for my glory, my power, and my praise. I'll walk 5,000 of those guys off a cliff just to prove a point. And I'll save all 5,000 of them. And if you think it's so fun to walk off that cliff, you do it. You can pray to God for help. Just have faith and jump. You can fly. You can float. Like a butterfly, sing like a bee. It's weird. I go through and I float. I can levitate. I must have Wingardium Leviosa. Scared, Potter? Right. So, it's interesting, man. I accidentally deleted access to certain things, and I know which one it was. It was in Orem, Utah. Yeah. I accidentally was going through with the stuff and deleted access to one of my things because it wasn't Roswell, because I still have one I made with Roswell. So it was Orem, Utah. And Seattle? I don't think so. I don't think Seattle's... I've got Western Oregon and I got lots of Northwest schools in the, and plus there's University of Washington and all that. So no, it was Orem, Utah. Yeah. There's something in that mind screwing through that virtual presence surveillance thing that just doesn't want me connected to them. So I wasn't going to connect to them. I was going to do Roswell. You got scared, huh? Scared, Potter? Mythology doesn't exist here. This is not a realm. This is reality. This is not a dream. This is reality. Far beyond the fear of drowning. And this is what you cannot see. There's no gratitude from the selfish. Okay. But the faithful, there's always gratitude. That's why the gracious good shepherd is like he is and still is to this day. I may not look like, I look kind of like Anthony Hopkins trying to play Odin there on the Chris Hemsworth movies there, Only I'm way sexier. Why? Because I can still dance. It's weird when you're watching people. I was watching some of the guys in the UFL yesterday, and it's like, oh, he should have, never mind. Like, I've watched lots of college and pro sports. It's like, why did he still keep running? Why didn't he just stop? Because they can't. What do you mean? Can't. Reggie Bush kind of did what I could do. Yeah, he'd be running full speed, stop, and and only I could do it better than most people. And I thought everybody could do it pretty much well because Gale Sayers and Reggie Bush and all that. I didn't realize I was better. You don't, because I didn't play that much. And then when I'd go, you play, and people get, Gary Ward, he's a faggot. No, he's Bambi, and it's gorgeous. Look at him run, Babby, run. You're just mad because you can't knock him down. Oh, Philip Warwick. Yeah. I didn't realize that. Like Sherrod said, you look like a damn all-star out there, Earl. You know, and poor Anthony, I was like, you have real bad bets. You should have told me this privately instead of in front of Anthony. You looked all right to play special teams, but damn, Parsons, you look like a goddamn all-star. I was like, you have really bad bedside manner. They asked him to come out here. He asked me to come because he was nervous. Because they expected a lot out of him, and he wasn't sure if he'd be able to deliver. And he's black and bigger guy. Okay. And they had him come try out, and they said, oh, he could be some good special teams player, this and that, but he's not as athletic as we would want him to be. And Parsons, god dang. And then Forrest and Allen, when I got into it with the coach's nephew in the weight room, well, the best one was when Zygmunt threw the ball right in my nuts, in my nutsack on that 5 or 10 yard slanter. You turn and he throws it and you catch it because he's going to throw it before you come out of he threw it right on my balls and I caught it. And it hurt. Oh, fuck yeah, it hurt. He threw it as hard as he could. And I caught it, and then I brought it back to him, and instead of tossing it back to him, I handed it to him. I said, you do that again, I'm going to fucking shove that ball right up your fucking ass. And Forrest and Allen goes, that's the type of attitude we know on this team. That's Michael Fortiche, the one that kicked him in the ass when he bent down to get the, yeah, because I remember telling, when Anthony told me that Michael Fortiche did that to him when they lost in the playoffs because he fumbled the ball and went down on one knee to pick it up, and Mike got behind him and kicked him in the ass because he was supposed to hand it off to him to try to get it in the end zone. And that was his senior year, and he lost a chance to go to the state playoffs. And I was like, he shouldn't have done that. And then after I got to know Jeff Zygmunt, I know exactly why Mark Fortiche kicked him in the ass, because I told him the same thing. And you do that again, I'm shoving that ball right up your ass. Yeah, there must be some people that migrated to Nigeria that are related to Adam and Eve, right? I think so. When I move, you move. Don't sell diapers. If we need diapers, we'll make sure the cute little Huggies have diapers. And if you can't stop doing that, I can't protect you from Chinese technology getting you to talking your 5,000 cliff wall jumpers to jump. Have faith in the idiot that's mind manipulated by NASA and the Pentagon for genocide operations, and have faith and jump. Do you think he knows it? He does now. Okay, I love you, all right? Peace.